Document. They violated the oldest rule in the galaxy. Never challenge the humans. Part 2. The defense station was gone. Pieces of it burned as they fell through the sky like slow meteors. Smoke rose from the colony fields, where Vexian landing craft had already touched down. Black armored troops poured out. They moved in tight lines. Their rifles spat green energy bolts that cut through anything in their path. Houses caught fire. People screamed and ran. But not everyone ran. In the main settlement, a group of miners refused to leave their equipment behind. They were tough men and women who spent years underground. They knew how to use heavy tools as weapons. Their leader was a big man named Daniel Brooks. He was 45, with strong arms and a short beard. He grabbed a mining laser from the storage shed. It was made to cut rock, not people. Today it would do both. "Get the kids out first," Daniel shouted to the others. "The rest of us hold the line here." They set up behind concrete barriers near the main road. When the first Vexian squad came marching toward them, Daniel aimed the laser. A bright white beam shot out. It sliced through 3 Vexian soldiers in one sweep. Their armors split open. They fell without a sound. The others dropped to the ground and returned fire. Energy bolts hit the barriers. Chunks of concrete exploded. Daniel ducked low. "Keep firing. Don't let them pass." More miners joined in. They used drills, plasma cutters, and even metal bars. One woman named Karen White threw a mining charge like a grenade. It landed among the Vexians and exploded in a flash of blue light. 5 more enemies died. The Vexians pulled back for a moment. They were not used to humans fighting like this. High above, the battle in space continued. Ensign Ryan Cole flew his fighter through a storm of lasers. His ship was small and fast. He twisted left, then right. A Vexian fighter tried to lock onto him. Ryan rolled his ship upside down and fired his cannons. The enemy exploded in a ball of fire. "Scratch another one," Ryan said into his radio. His squadron was down to 5 fighters now. They had started with 12. The rest were gone. Burned wreckage floated around them. But Ryan refused to run. He saw the big Vexian transports, still dropping troops to the surface. He knew if those transports kept coming, the colony would fall fast. "Listen up," Ryan said to the others. "We hit the transports. Aim for their engines. If we slow them down, more people get away." The pilots agreed. They formed up in a loose line, then they dove toward the nearest transport ship. It was huge, shaped like a black arrowhead. Its engines glowed bright blue. Ryan led the charge. He flew straight at it. Alarms screamed in his cockpit. Warning lights flashed red. "Missile lock," the computer said. He waited until he was close. Then he fired all his remaining missiles at once. 4 streaks of light raced forward. 3 hit the engines. Fire bloomed across the back of the transport. It started to spin slowly. Smoke poured out. The other pilots followed. They attacked from different sides. One by one, the transports took damage. Some kept going. Others lost power and drifted. The Vexians had not expected this kind of attack from such small ships. On the bridge of the Vexian flagship, Admiral Varn slammed his fist on the arm of his chair. "These humans will not stop," he growled. "Order the fighters to hunt them down. No mercy." Vexian fighters swarmed like angry insects. They chased Ryan's group. Lasers crossed the black of space. One human fighter took a direct hit. It broke apart in silence. Ryan felt the loss like a punch. He knew the pilot. Her name was Maria Lopez. She had laughed a lot. Now, she was gone. He flew straight at 3 Vexian fighters. He fired his last cannon rounds. One enemy exploded. Another veered away damaged. The third stayed on him. Ryan pushed his engines to maximum. His fighters shook. The Vexian stayed close. Ryan saw a chance. He cut his engines suddenly. The enemy shot past him. Ryan flipped his ship and fired one more time. The Vexian fighter burst into pieces. He was alone now. The rest of his squadron was scattered or dead. Back on the surface, Lieutenant Lisa Harper had made it down in one of the last shuttles from the ruined defense station. She landed near the main command bunker. The bunker was hidden under a hill. It had thick walls and emergency supplies. Lisa ran inside. She found the colony governor, a woman named Laura Bennett. Laura looked tired. Her face was dirty from smoke. "How bad is it up there?" she asked. "Bad," Lisa said. "The station is gone. Most of our fighters are gone. Some transports are damaged. Evac ships are jumping out when they can." Laura nodded. "We need to hold longer. The fleet signal went out. Help is coming. We just have to survive until then." Lisa looked at the tactical map on the wall. Red dots showed Vexian positions. They were everywhere. But blue dots still blinked in places. Humans were still fighting. "I have an idea," Lisa said. "The planet has a strong magnetic field. We can use it. If we overload some of the old relay towers, we can create interference. It will mess with their sensors. They won't see our movements clearly." Laura thought for a moment. "Can we do it fast?" "We have to," Lisa said. "I'll take a team. We need engineers and anyone who can carry a gun." They moved quickly. Lisa gathered 12 people. Some were soldiers. Some were technicians. They loaded trucks with equipment and weapons. The sky was full of smoke and flashes from the fighting. They reached the first relay tower after an hour. It was tall and old. Metal rusted in places. Lisa's team worked fast. They connected power cables to the main grid. They set the tower to overload on purpose. When they flipped the switch, the tower hummed loud. Blue lightning jumped between the antennas. Then the magnetic pulse went out. In space, Vexian sensors started to fail. Screens filled with static. Pilots lost their targets. Admiral Varn shouted orders, but his officers could not answer clearly. On the ground, Vexian troops became confused. Their helmet displays flickered. They could not see far. Humans used the moment. Small groups attacked from the sides. They hid and ran. They used the dark and the trees for cover. Daniel Brooks and his miners pushed forward. They took back one street, then another. They carried them to safety. Karen White led a team to the spaceport. Vexians guarded it. But the magnetic interference made their heavy weapons hard to aim. Karen's group used that. They threw smoke grenades. Then they charged. They fought hand to hand. Karen took a hit to her shoulder. Blood ran down her arm. She kept fighting. She killed the last Vexian at the gate with a knife. The spaceport was open again. More evacuation ships lifted off. Engines roared. They climbed fast toward space. Jump drives charged. One by one, they vanished into bright flashes. Ryan Cole saw the ships leaving from his cockpit. He smiled, even though his ship was damaged. Fuel was low. Shields were gone. But people were escaping. That was enough. He turned his fighter toward the last Vexian transport still trying to land. He had no missiles left. Only one cannon with a few rounds. He flew straight at it anyway. The transport saw him coming. Its point defense guns opened fire. Lasers grazed Ryan's wing. His ship spun. Alarms screamed. He fought the controls. He got it steady again. He was close now. Very close. Ryan pressed the fire button. The last rounds hit the transport's bridge. Glass shattered. Fire spread inside. The big ship tilted. It started to fall toward the planet. Ryan pulled up hard. His fighter climbed away, just as the transport crashed into a mountain. The explosion lit up the night sky like a second sun. Ryan's radio crackled. "Ensign Cole, this is Governor Bennett. You just gave us 20 more minutes. Thank you." Ryan laughed, short and tired. "Just doing my job, ma'am." He looked at his fuel gauge, almost empty. He aimed his ship toward the nearest landing field. He would fight on the ground now. The Vexians had come expecting an easy win. They found something else. Humans did not break easily. They bent. They bled. But they kept standing up. Not yet. Far away, human ships were already moving. Engines burning hot. Jump drives ready. They raced toward new horizons. The oldest rule had been broken, and the price was starting to show. Document. They violated the oldest rule in the galaxy. Never challenge the humans. Part 3. The night on New Horizons stretched long and dark. Smoke still rose from burning fields. The air smelled of metal and fire. Vexian troops moved through the streets in small groups now. They no longer marched in perfect lines. The magnetic interference from the relay towers had broken their coordination. Their helmets showed only static. Their radios crackled with noise. They shouted orders that no one could hear clearly. Humans used every second of confusion. Small teams struck from shadows. They threw rocks to make noise. They fired quick shots, then ran. They made the enemy chase ghosts. Daniel Brooks led one such team. He carried his mining laser like a rifle. His miners followed close. They wore dark clothes and moved low. They hit a Vexian supply truck. Daniel cut through the engine block with one beam. The truck caught fire. The Vexians inside jumped out. Karen White and 2 others opened fire with stolen energy rifles. The fight lasted less than a minute. The truck burned. The supplies inside were useless now. In the command bunker, Lieutenant Lisa Harper worked without rest. She sat at a cracked console. Her fingers moved fast over keys. She hacked deeper into Vexian systems. The aliens used old encryption. Humans had records of it from 50 years ago. Lisa found weak points. She sent false orders to Vexian units. One squad received a command to attack their own landing zone. They turned and fired on their brothers. Green bolts lit the night. Screams came over open channels. Governor Laura Bennett watched the screens. Casualties were high. Many homes were gone. But evacuation ships kept jumping out. Over 6,000 people had escaped already. More waited in hidden shelters. Laura turned to Lisa. "How long until the interference fails?" she asked. "Not long," Lisa said. "We get maybe 2 more hours." Laura nodded. "Then we make those hours count." Outside the bunker, Ensign Ryan Cole landed his damaged fighter on a dirt strip. The ship smoked. One wing was half gone. Ryan climbed out. His flight suit was torn. Blood ran from a cut on his forehead. He grabbed a rifle from the wreckage. Then he ran toward the nearest fighting. He found a group of colony guards pinned down behind a wall. Vexians advanced from the other side. Ryan joined them. He fired short bursts. One Vexian fell. Another dropped behind cover. "We need to fall back," a guard said. Ryan shook his head. "Not yet. Look." He pointed. A line of mining trucks rolled in from the east. Daniel Brooks drove the lead one. He had welded metal plates to the front for armor. The trucks stopped. Miners jumped out. They carried heavy tools and charges. They charged the Vexian line. Explosions rocked the ground. When it cleared, the Vexians were running. Ryan smiled for the first time that night. "That's how we do it." Far across the galaxy, the emergency signal reached human space. It hit the relay at Alpha Centauri first. Then it spread like fire through dry grass. On the heavy cruiser Independence, Admiral Charles Ford received it. He was 58, tall, gray hair cut short. His face showed lines from years of command. He stood on the bridge. Officers waited around him. The message played on the main screen. "Vexians have attacked New Horizons. Colony under heavy assault. Defense station destroyed. Request immediate aid." Charles stared at the words. His jaw tightened. "Plot course for New Horizons," he said. "Maximum speed. All ships." The fleet was already on alert. 20 cruisers, 30 destroyers, hundreds of fighters. They had drilled for this kind of call many times. Engines roared to life. Jump drives spun up. The fleet vanished into white light. Charles turned to his tactical officer. "Give me estimates." 3 days at best speed, the officer said. "We can shave it to 2.5 if we push the drives." Do it, Charles said. No stops, no delays. He walked to his ready room. He closed the door. And he sat and looked at a photo on his desk. It showed his daughter on her graduation day. She lived on a colony world far from New Horizons. But the thought of any human world burning made his blood hot. Back on New Horizons, the Vexians tried to regroup. Admiral Varn stood on his flagship bridge. He watched reports come in. Losses were higher than expected. Troops on the ground reported human resistance everywhere. Small attacks, traps, false signals. Varn felt anger rise in his chest. These are not soldiers, he said. They are farmers, miners, children playing at war. His second officer spoke quietly. Yet they kill us, sir. Varn turned sharp. Then kill them faster. Order orbital strikes. Target the settlements. Burn them out. The guns on the big ships charged again. Bright energy built. Beams lanced down. One hit the edge of the main city. Buildings collapsed. Fire spread. People ran from the flames. Lisa saw it on her screen. They are hitting civilian zones. Laura stood. We need to draw their fire away. Use the remaining relay towers. Make them think our main force is somewhere else. Lisa worked fast. She sent fake signals, heat signatures, radio chatter. The Vexians took the bait. 3 warships turned. They fired on empty hills. Explosions tore rock apart. Dust clouds rose kilometers high. Daniel Brooks used the moment. He led a raid on a Vexian forward base. His team crawled through drainage pipes. They came up inside the enemy camp. Guards died before they could shout. Daniel planted charges on fuel tanks. When they blew, the blast lit the sky orange. Vexian troops panicked. They shot in every direction. Karen White fought beside him. She took another wound, this time in the leg. She limped, but kept moving. We are not done yet, she said through gritted teeth. Ryan Cole joined the raid late. He carried extra ammo. He covered their retreat. His rifle barked. Vexians dropped. The team pulled back into the forest. Behind them, the base burned. On the flagship, Varn received the damage report. More troops lost, more supplies gone. His anger turned to doubt. He had promised his emperor an easy victory. Now the days dragged on. Casualties mounted. The humans refused to break. He opened a private channel to Emperor Korvax. My lord, Varn said, the humans fight harder than we thought. Their tricks cost us time. Losses are significant. Korvax's face appeared on the screen. His eyes were cold. You told me they were weak, the Emperor said. They were supposed to be, Varn answered, but they adapt. They use everything, even their old machines. Korvax leaned forward. Finish it. I will not recall the fleet. Take the planet or die trying. The channel closed. Varn stared at the blank screen. For the first time, he felt something close to fear. On the ground, Lisa's team reached the last working relay tower. They set it to maximum overload. The pulse went out stronger than before. Vexian sensors died completely for 10 minutes. Humans moved freely. They rescued trapped families. They carried wounded to safety. They prepared more traps. Ryan found a group of children hiding in a cave. Their parents were gone. He stayed with them. He told stories to keep them calm. Outside, the sounds of battle never stopped. 2 days passed. The Vexians bled. Then sensors on the Independence picked up the first jump flashes. The fleet was close. Charles Ford stood on his bridge. He looked at the tactical display. New Horizons glowed red with fighting. Full battle formation, he ordered. Weapons free on arrival. The ships dropped out of jump one by one. Engines flared. Guns charged. Fighters launched in waves. The oldest rule had been broken. Now the galaxy would see why it existed. They violated the oldest rule in the galaxy. Never challenge the humans. Part 4. The jump points near New Horizons flashed white. One after another, human warships dropped into real space. Engines burned bright. The fleet formed up fast. 20 cruisers led the way. Destroyers flanked them. Fighters poured out like angry bees. Admiral Charles Ford stood on the bridge of the flagship Liberty. He watched the tactical display. Red dots showed Vexian ships. Blue dots showed his own. The numbers favored the enemy, but Charles knew numbers did not win every fight. "Status report," he said. His tactical officer answered quick. "Enemy fleet holds position around the planet. 41 ships still combat effective. Ground forces report heavy fighting in the colony zones. Human resistance continues." Charles nodded once. "Good. They held the line. Now, we finish it." His voice carried to every ship. "This is Admiral Ford. The Vexians broke the oldest rule. They attacked our people. They burned our homes. Today we remind them why that rule exists. We fight for every man, woman, and child on New Horizons. No mercy, no retreat. Engage at will." Cheers came back over the channels. Short, sharp, then silence as ships moved. The Vexians saw the new arrivals. Admiral Varn stared at his screens. His yellow eyes narrowed. He counted the human ships. Not enough to win on paper, but something in his gut twisted. "Form defensive sphere," Varn ordered. "Target the lead cruiser. Fire all batteries." Vexian guns turned. Energy beams lanced across the void. They struck the Liberty's forward shields. The ship shook. Lights flickered, but the shields held. Charles did not flinch. "Launch fighters, full spread, target their command elements. Cruisers, advance in wedge formation. Destroyers, flank and hit their engines." Human fighters screamed forward, hundreds of them. Pilots pushed throttles to maximum. They wove through laser fire. Some died in the first wave. Explosions bloomed silent in the black, but more came behind. They swarmed the Vexian capital ships. Small missiles struck armor. Point defense guns tried to stop them. Many failed. Ensign Ryan Cole had made it back to space. He flew a replacement fighter pulled from the Liberty's hangar. His new ship felt strange. Faster, better armed. He led a squadron of 12. They dove straight at the Vexian flagship. "Stay tight," Ryan said over the radio. "Hit the engines first, then the bridge." They flew low over the enemy ship, close enough to see hull plates. Vexian turrets tracked them. Lasers grazed wings. Ryan rolled left. He fired torpedoes. 4 streaks raced forward. 3 hit. Fire tore through the rear of the flagship. The big ship slowed. The rest of the squadron followed. More hits. More fire. The Vexian flagship listed to one side. On the bridge, Varn felt the deck tilt. Alarms screamed. Officers shouted damage reports. "Engine 3 offline," one said. "Shields failing on starboard." Varn gripped his chair. Divert power. Return fire. But the human fleet pressed harder. Cruisers moved in close. Their railguns fired in steady rhythm. Solid slugs punched through Vexian armor. One enemy cruiser broke in half. Another lost its guns. Destroyers darted in and out. They used speed to hit weak points, then pull away. Lieutenant Lisa Harper was back on the Liberty. She had been pulled from the surface during the last evacuation window. Now she sat at an electronic warfare station. Her screens showed Vexian comms. She worked fast. She sent junk data. She spoofed sensor readings. She made Vexian ships see ghosts. "Got their targeting net," Lisa said, feeding them false positions. Vexian guns fired at empty space. Beams crossed where no ships flew. Human ships used the confusion. They closed the distance. They hammered the enemy line. Charles watched it all. Target their heavies. Take out the battleships first. The Liberty led the charge. It drove straight at the Vexian center. Guns roared. Missiles launched in salvos. The lead Vexian battleship took hit after hit. Its shields collapsed. A final railgun slug punched through the core. The ship exploded in a bright sphere of light. Debris flew outward. The Vexians started to break. Smaller ships tried to run. Human destroyers chased them. Fighters hunted stragglers. The battle turned into a slaughter. On the ground, humans felt the change. The sky lit up with new flashes. Not just Vexian beams. Human weapons answered back. Daniel Brooks stood on a hill. He watched streaks of light cross the stars. He lowered his mining laser. "They're here," he said. Karen White leaned against a tree. Her leg was bandaged. She smiled through the pain. About time. People came out of shelters. They looked up. Hope returned to tired faces. Ryan Cole flew one last run. His squadron had 5 ships left. They attacked a damaged Vexian carrier. The carrier tried to launch fighters. Too late. Ryan's torpedoes hit the flight deck. The carrier burned from inside. Secondary explosions ripped it apart. Ryan pulled away. His fuel was low again. He aimed for the Liberty. "This is Cole. Request landing clearance." "Cleared," the voice answered. "Welcome home, Ensign." Ryan landed hard. The deck crew rushed to his ship. He climbed out. His legs shook. He looked around. Pilots cheered as they returned. Some did not return. Empty slots in the hangar told the story. Admiral Varn's flagship was dying. Fires spread through decks. Bulkheads failed. Air leaked into space. Varn stood alone on the bridge. Most of his officers were dead or wounded. He opened a channel to the Liberty. "This is Admiral Varn," he said. His voice sounded thin. "We request parley." Charles appeared on the screen. His face was hard. "Parley?" Charles said. "You invaded our world. You killed our people. You broke the rule. Now you want terms?" Varn looked down. "We underestimated you. We were wrong." Charles leaned forward. "You were arrogant. That ends today." He gave the order. "Boarding teams, take their command ship. Secure the Admiral. No unnecessary deaths." Human boarding pods launched. They clamped to the Vexian hull. Marines in heavy armor cut through. They moved deck by deck. Vexians fought back in places. Most surrendered. The fight was over for them. Varn waited in his throne room. When the human Marines entered, he raised his hands. They took him without a shot. On the Liberty, Charles watched the reports. Enemy ships surrendered one by one. Some tried to jump away. Human interceptors caught them. The battle ended in less than 4 hours. The Vexian fleet was broken. Wreckage floated around New Horizons like a new ring. Human ships moved to secure the area. Rescue teams went to the surface. They found survivors. They found bodies. Daniel Brooks walked through the ruins of the main settlement. He helped carry wounded to medical tents. Karen limped beside him. They did not speak much. Words were not needed. Lisa Harper stood on the bridge. She looked at Charles. "We held," she said. Charles put a hand on her shoulder. "You all did more than hold. You showed them the cost." Ryan Cole joined them. His face was black with soot. He saluted. "Sir," he said, "the ground teams report most civilians safe. Evacuees are returning when it's clear. Good work, Ensign, all of you." He turned to the main view screen. The planet turned below. Smoke still rose in places. But lights came back on in the settlements. People walked the streets again. The oldest rule had been broken. The price was paid in blood and fire. Now the galaxy would remember. Document. They violated the oldest rule in the galaxy. Never challenge the humans. Part 5. The Vexian flagship drifted dead in space. Fires still burned inside its broken hull. Human boarding teams moved through dark corridors. Their flashlights cut sharp beams across twisted metal. Bodies lay where they fell. Some Vexians knelt with hands raised. They had no fight left. Admiral Varn walked between two rows of human marines. His black armor was cracked. His yellow eyes looked dull now. He kept his head high, but his steps were slow. They brought him to the shuttle bay. A small craft waited. It flew him to the Liberty. The trip took only minutes. When the hatch opened, Admiral Charles Ford stood there, tall, calm, arms crossed. Behind him waited Captain John Miller's old second officer, now promoted. Lieutenant Lisa Harper stood at his side. Ensign Ryan Cole waited nearby. His flight suit was still dirty from battle. Chains linked his wrists. He looked at Charles. "You have won the battle," Varn said. His voice came out flat. Charles did not smile. "We won because you started a war you could not finish." They walked him to the main briefing room. The room had a long table. Screens showed the planet below. New Horizons turned slow. Smoke still rose in thin lines from the surface, but lights glowed again in the settlements. People moved in the streets. Rescue teams worked. Life came back. Charles pointed to a chair. Varn sat. The Marines stayed close. Charles spoke first. "Your Emperor sent you here. He thought humans were weak. He thought the old stories were lies. Now look at your fleet. Look at your losses. Tell me what you see." Varn stared at the table. "I see a mistake." Lisa stepped forward. "A mistake that cost thousands of lives. Human lives. Vexian lives. You burned homes. You killed farmers, miners, children." Varn lifted his eyes. "We followed orders." Charles leaned on the table. "Orders do not erase blood. Your Emperor will answer for this too." A new screen lit up. It showed Emperor Korvax. His red crystal throne looked smaller now. His face showed strain. Lines cut deep around his mouth. He had watched every moment of the battle through hidden feeds. Now he saw his admiral in chains. Korvax spoke. "Admiral Varn failed me, but the Vexian Empire still stands. We can rebuild, we can." Charles cut him off. "No, you do not rebuild until you understand one thing. Humans do not start wars. But when someone breaks the rule, we end them." Korvax tried to speak again. Charles raised a hand. "Listen," Charles said. "Your fleet is gone. Your troops on the ground have surrendered. Your Emperor sits far away, safe for now. But we know where your capital is. We know your shipyards. We know your weak points. If you force our hand again, we will come for you. Your worlds, your throne, everything." Korvax swallowed. "What do you want?" Charles looked straight at him. "Full withdrawal. All remaining ships leave New Horizons space within 1 hour. All ground troops lay down weapons and board transports we provide. You return every prisoner. You pay for the damage. You sign a treaty that says you will never cross our borders again. And you tell every species in the galaxy what happened here." Korvax looked away. Then he nodded slow. "We accept." The screen went dark. Varn stared at the floor. "You show mercy." Charles turned to him. "We show sense. Mercy today means peace tomorrow. But cross us again, and mercy ends." The next hours moved fast. Vexian ships powered down weapons. They formed lines. Human destroyers watched them close. One by one, the enemy vessels jumped away. Bright flashes marked their exit. On the ground, Vexian troops walked out of cover. They raised empty hands. Human soldiers guided them to landing zones. Shuttles took them up. No shots fired. No tricks played. Daniel Brooks stood at the edge of the main settlement. He watched the last Vexian leave. His mining laser rested on his shoulder. Karen White leaned on a crutch beside him. Her leg still hurt, but she stood straight. "They're gone," Daniel said. Karen nodded. "For now." They turned and walked back into town. People came out of shelters. They hugged. They cried. They started to clean the streets. Children ran again. Laughter came back. Ryan Cole sat in the Liberty's mess hall. He ate a hot meal for the first time in days. His hands shook a little. Lisa sat across from him. She drank water. "You flew like hell out there," she said. Ryan gave a tired smile. "You hacked like hell down here." They laughed short. They thought of the ones who did not come back. Admiral Charles Ford stood on the observation deck. He looked at the planet. Blue oceans, green lands, scars from battle still showed, but the world lived. He thought of Captain John Miller. The man had died holding the line. Charles would make sure his name stayed remembered. A message came through, from Earth. The Council approved the terms. They sent engineers, doctors, builders. Help poured in. New horizons would heal. Weeks later, a formal ceremony took place on the surface. Humans and a few Vexian envoys stood in a cleared field. The treaty was signed on a simple table. No grand speeches, no music, just words on a screen. Promises sealed with scans. The Vexian envoy bowed low. "We will not forget." Charles answered. "Make sure no one else does either." The envoys left. The humans stayed. Years passed. The story spread. Traders told it in bars, on distant stations. Diplomats whispered it in quiet halls. Children learned it in schools. The oldest rule came back stronger. Never challenge the humans. Species watched human ships move through space. They moved with care now. They asked permission before crossing borders. They traded fair. They kept peace. On new horizons, life rebuilt. New houses rose. Fields grew green again. Daniel Brooks went back to mining. Karen White taught kids how to shoot straight, just in case. Ryan Cole stayed in the Navy. He flew new ships. Lisa Harper rose in rank. She planned defenses that no one would ever break. Admiral Charles Ford retired one day. He lived on a quiet farm near the colony he saved. He watched sunsets. He told stories to his grandchildren. They listened wide-eyed. And somewhere far out in the black, a young captain on a new ship looked at the stars. His first officer asked, "Sir, do you believe the old rule?" The captain thought for a moment. "I believe the proof," he said. "The Vexians tested it. They lost everything. We remember. They remember. The galaxy remembers." He turned the ship toward home. The rule stood. It always would. Because humans did not seek war. But when war came to them, they answered. And the answer was final. Document. They violated the oldest rule in the galaxy. Never challenge the humans. Part 1. The galaxy is big. Very big. Stars stretch across it like endless lights in the dark. Many species live among those stars. They build ships. They make colonies. They trade. They fight. But one rule has lasted longer than most empires. Everyone knows it. Everyone repeats it in quiet voices when humans are mentioned. Never challenge the humans. No one remembers exactly when the rule started. Some say it began after the Great Human War, 300 years ago. Others say it was even older. The rule is simple. Leave humans alone. Do not attack their worlds. Do not test their strength. Do not try to take what belongs to them. Every alien species teaches this rule to their young. Every captain warns their crew before entering human space. Break the rule, and the galaxy watches what happens next. Most species obeyed. They stayed away from human borders. They traded carefully when they had to. They kept peace, but not everyone listened forever. The Vexian Empire was old and proud. Their ships were large and covered in sharp black metal. Their weapons could burn planets from far away. Emperor Korvax ruled them with a cold hand. He sat on a tall throne made of red crystal in the heart of their capital world. He looked at maps of the galaxy every day. He wanted more. More worlds, more power, more fear from others. One morning, his advisors brought him news. A small human colony called New Horizons sat on the edge of Vexian space. It had only 10,000 people, a few farms, a mining station, a single defense station in orbit. The humans there grew food and dug rare metals. They lived quietly. Korvax stared at the map for a long time. Then he spoke. Why do we let these humans sit so close to our border? They are weak now. Their old strength is gone. Stories from long ago mean nothing today. His generals looked at each other. One of them, General Zethar, spoke carefully. Your Majesty, the rule is for cowards, Korvax said. Humans have not fought a real war in generations. They build schools and hospitals now. They plant trees. They sing songs about peace. They are soft. We will take New Horizons. We will show the galaxy that the Vexians fear nothing. The generals did not argue again. They knew better. Orders went out that same day. A fleet of 40 Vexian warships left their home system. They moved fast through dark space. Their engines burned blue fire. Their guns stayed ready. The fleet commander was Admiral Varn. He was tall, even for a Vexian. His skin was dark gray. His eyes were narrow and yellow. He believed in his emperor. He believed the old stories were lies. The humans on New Horizons did not expect trouble. It was a normal morning there. Farmers worked in the fields. Children played near the main settlement. Miners rode lifts deep into the ground. In orbit, the small defense station turned slowly. Captain John Miller stood on its bridge. He was 42 years old. He had short brown hair and calm blue eyes. He liked his quiet posting. He drank coffee every morning and checked weather reports for the colony below. John had served in the human navy for 20 years. He had seen action once, long ago, against pirates. Since then, life had been peaceful. He liked it that way. Most days he talked to his wife back on Earth through video messages. She sent pictures of their garden. He smiled when he saw them. That morning the alarms screamed. John dropped his coffee. Red lights flashed across the bridge. The sensor officer, Lieutenant Lisa Harper, stared at her screen. Multiple contacts, she said. 40 ships, Vexian signatures. They just dropped out of jump, right at the edge of the system. They are coming straight for us. John felt cold in his stomach. He had heard the old rule many times. He never thought he would see it broken. Are you sure? He asked. Lisa nodded. Positive. No mistaking those engine profiles. They are on attack vector. Weapons hot. John took a deep breath. He pressed the ship-wide alert. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Colony defense protocol. Get the evacuation ships ready. Ground teams, prepare shelters. He turned to the communications officer. Send emergency signal to Fleet Command. Priority 1. Tell them Vexians have invaded New Horizons. Request immediate reinforcements. The officer sent the message. It would take days for help to arrive. Too many light years away. Down on the surface, people looked up. They saw bright flashes in the sky. Vexian ships entered the atmosphere. Their landing craft dropped like black arrows. Explosions started near the mining fields. People ran. Parents grabbed children. Farmers left tools behind. The colony alarm wailed across every speaker. John watched it all from the defense station. His hands moved fast over the controls. The station had only 6 railguns and a handful of missiles. It was never built for a full fleet attack. But John knew one thing clearly. If they did nothing, the colony would die. Target the lead ships, he ordered. Fire when ready. The railguns roared. Bright streaks shot into space. 2 Vexian landing craft exploded in silent fireballs. The rest kept coming. Lisa called out, "They are launching fighters. Dozens of them. John clenched his jaw. Launch our own fighters, all of them. Buy time for the transports. Below, Ensign Ryan Cole ran to his fighter in the hangar. He was 26. Young, fast. He loved flying. Today he felt fear, but he pushed it down. He climbed into the cockpit. The canopy closed. Engines screamed to life. "Cole, you are cleared for launch," the control voice said. Ryan pushed the throttle. His fighter shot out of the station like a bullet. Behind him, 11 more followed. They were small compared to the Vexian ships, but they were quick, and the pilots inside them were human. In the first minutes of the battle, Ryan's squadron met the enemy head-on. Lasers flashed, missiles streaked. 2 human fighters died in seconds, but Ryan twisted his ship through the chaos. He locked on to a Vexian scout and fired. The enemy ship broke apart. "Got one," he shouted. More came, the sky filled with fire and metal. Back on the bridge, John watched the numbers drop. Colony transports were lifting off one by one. They carried families, children, sick people, miners. They climbed toward jump points. If even half escaped, it would be a victory. But the Vexians pressed harder. Their main guns turned toward the defense station. Admiral Varn watched from his flagship. He smiled. "Pathetic," he said. "They still fight, but it changes nothing. Burn their station, then take the planet." The Vexian guns charged. Bright energy built along their barrels. John saw it coming. He knew what it meant. "Evasive maneuvers," he said. "All power to engines." The station was slow. Too slow. Lisa looked at him. "Captain, we won't make it." John met her eyes. "Then we make them pay for every second." He turned back to the main screen. "Fire everything we have left. Aim for their command ship. Let them remember our names." The defense station shook as its last missiles launched. Railguns fired until barrels glowed red. One missile hit the Vexian flagship. It did not destroy it, but it tore a hole in the armor. Sparks flew in vacuum. His smile disappeared. "They dare," he said. Then the main guns fired. A beam of white fire struck the defense station. Metal screamed, lights died. The bridge exploded in flame and air. John Miller's last thought was of his wife's garden. The station broke apart. Pieces fell toward the planet like burning stars. On the ground, people saw the sky light up. They knew what it meant. Their protectors were gone. But the fight was not over. Evacuation ships climbed higher. Fighters still flew. Ryan Cole led what was left of his squadron. They danced between enemy ships. They died one by one. But each death cost the Vexians something. Far away, the emergency signal raced through space. It carried only a few words. "Vexians have attacked New Horizons. Humans under fire. Send help now." The galaxy waited. The oldest rule had been broken, and humans never forgot.